It's Monday, July 20th, and here's what you need to know by noon. The war between the United States and Iran has entered its second week, and this weekend it stopped being a distant story and started moving your money as oil climbs and Wall Street braces. Plus, the big new spending law is quietly starting to reshape the safety net. The Supreme Court hands the president new power over Washington's watchdogs, and Spain are champions of the world. Let's get into it. We start with the war, because it's not winding down. It's widening. Overnight brought a 9th straight night of U.S. strikes on Iran, hitting command centers, air defenses, and missile sites, according to Central Command. After Friday's attack that killed American troops in Jordan, both sides are digging in, not backing off. 2 weeks in, there is still no ceasefire and no off-ramp in sight, and Iran is hitting back well beyond the Gulf. Its Revolutionary Guard claimed a surprise attack on a U.S. Special Operations post at Al-Tanf in Syria, drone strikes on Kuwait, and, this is the big one, ballistic missiles aimed at American aircraft at Aqaba Airport in Jordan, claiming, quote, severe damage. Put it on the map, and the pattern is clear. 3 more countries pulled into a fight between 2. President Trump addressed the American losses directly. Quote, we hit them very hard again tonight, and we did that in honor of probably 3 great patriots. It was his acknowledgement of the service members killed in Friday's strike in Jordan, the first American combat deaths of this war, as the U.S. answered with the heaviest bombing yet. The pressure point remains the Strait of Hormuz. Iran's Revolutionary Guard says it halted 2 oil tankers trying to pass through, and a vessel was reported on fire off the coast of Oman. Secretary of State Marco Rubio put the stakes plainly, saying some in Iran, quote, want to control the straits and hold that as leverage against the world. Remember, about 1/5 of the world's oil normally moves through that narrow channel, and that is why this now lands on Wall Street. As the week opened, oil jumped and bond prices fell, with markets bracing for what one analyst called a return to all-out war. A former NATO commander even warned the Suez Canal could be the next choke point at risk. So when you feel it at the pump this week, this is why. A war 6,000 miles away, reaching into the price of a tank of gas. Here's the rest of what's happening. And today, 2 stories that got buried under the war, but matter a lot. First, your safety net is quietly changing. While everyone watches Iran, the big new spending law, the one big beautiful bill, is starting to take effect. Notices have begun telling some lawfully present immigrants, like refugees and asylees, that they'll lose Medicare and Medicaid. This fall, states get handed 3/4 of the cost of running food stamps. And by year's end, millions of Medicaid enrollees will have to prove 80 hours a month of work or community activity to keep their coverage. Supporters call it fiscal discipline and a nudge back to work. Critics warn that millions could lose coverage in the paperwork. We report it. We don't referee it. Second, a quiet but historic shift in how Washington works. Late last month, the Supreme Court ruled that the president can fire commissioners at the Federal Trade Commission, the agency that polices monopolies, scams, and increasingly artificial intelligence. That overturns a 90-year-old precedent called Humphrey's Executor that kept these independent watchdogs from being fired at will. The case was Trump versus Slaughter, and while the court left the Federal Reserve alone, it handed the president real new power over the rest. Supporters say the Constitution demands it. Critics say independent regulation just ended. And third, the good news the whole planet was watching. Spain are world champions. They beat Argentina 1-0 in extra time at MetLife Stadium, just outside New York. Ferran Torres scored the only goal. An 18-year-old Lamine Yamal looked like the future of the sport, and Lionel Messi's last World Cup ended in heartbreak, with Argentina down a man after a red card. It's Spain's 2nd world title. So what should you watch this week? The Federal Reserve. It meets July 28th and 29th, and here's the twist. With the war pushing oil higher, a rate hike is suddenly on the table, the opposite of the cuts markets were banking on. It's also a huge week for earnings, with Tesla, Alphabet, IBM, and Intel all reporting into a nervous market. And one quiet bit of good news underneath it all. Jobless claims just hit a 10-week low, so hiring is still holding up. And that's Monday. Caught up. A war that's now moving markets. A safety net quietly being rewritten. A new balance of power in Washington, and Spain on top of the world. We'll keep it straight, and we'll keep it quick. This is Know by Noon. Everything worth knowing by noon. See you tomorrow.